And I now give the floor to the representative of Algeria. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At the outset, I would like to extend my thanks and appreciation to you for your laudable leadership of the deliberations of this committee. I extend my thanks to USG Melissa Fleming for her comprehensive briefing on the SG's report on questions relating to information. I thank her for the efforts made in overseeing the activities undertaken by the Department of Global Communications. In this regard, my country's delegation aligns itself with the statement made by Uganda on behalf of the G77 plus China. Madam Chair, there is no doubt that current developments pertaining to the work of the DGC, namely with rising global tensions and conflicts, require us to contain and mitigate them, especially amid the proliferation of disinformation and misinformation, namely on social media outlets. Based on the aforementioned, my country's delegation commends the work undertaken by the DGC, as it contributes to enlightening the public opinion on the activities of our organization, as well as the campaigns launched to counter disinformation and misinformation, such as the Verified Initiative, amongst many others. In considering the importance of addressing current challenges, curtailing the attainment of the freedom of expression and the protection of journalists during the fulfillment of their duties, my delegation underlines the need to concert our efforts to ensure that the freedom of press becomes a cornerstone of our practice of democracy, to remove the impediments preventing the freedom of expression and opinion enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Ongoing Israeli assaults against journalists in Gaza reveals an attempt to conceal facts and to prevent the exposure of massacres against Palestinians to the global public opinion. As proof of the aforementioned, the number of journalists who have been killed by the Israeli occupation powers has exceeded 180 journalists whose only fault was to seek to reveal the truth to the world. The United Nations Rapporteur on Freedom of Opinion and Expression has unveiled this stark reality. I quote, "The targeting of journalists is a systemic strategy adopted by the occupying power to prevent the documentation of its crimes." End of quote. How can one address the freedom of opinion and expression while journalists continue to be killed before the very eyes of the international community? How one continue to tolerate the mounting crimes perpetrated against journalists in Gaza and in Lebanon today? How can the international community stand idly by while the rights of journalists continue to be violated? And will these crimes, or how long will these crimes remain unaccounted for? The establishment of a more just world information and communications order requires the adoption of stringent policies that criminalize these continuous and premeditated attacks and assaults. The lack of accountability of perpetrators further sustains impunity and leads to the proliferation of the violations of human rights. This in turn undermines international peace and further leads to disinformation and misinformation. This in turn eats away at the credibility of our global order. Madam Chair, United Nations media outlets, including United Nations websites and social media platforms, constitute a credible and reliable source of official information. It allows the public opinion and media workers to remain appraised of the activities implemented by our organization. Therefore, my country's delegation once again underlines the importance to ensure that objective, accurate, and factual information is conveyed through these platforms. In conclusion, Madam Chair, my country's delegation encourages efforts made by the DGC to ensure equality between the 6 official languages of the United Nations. We stress once again the need to continue to concert our efforts to ensure that we foster multilingualism in the work of the DGC, especially when it comes to the use of the Arab language. This language remains underused in United Nations media outlets. We once again stress Algeria's support to initiatives and projects that seek to enhance the effectiveness of the work of the DGC. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I thank the distinguished representative of Algeria for his statement.